Friends from the press, good morning. Welcome to today's press conference. The first session of the 13th MPC will see the election of new government officials. This important meeting takes place as we kick off the efforts to put to action the guiding principles from the 19th Party Congress, celebrate the 40th anniversary of China's reform and opening up, and face a critical moment in the decisive stage of building a moderately prosperous society in all respects and in the 13th five-year plan. This MPC session will be a big event in the political life of the Chinese people. The session will follow the strong leadership of the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core. It will hold high the banner of socialism with Chinese characteristics, fully implement the Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, and act on the decisions of the 19th Party Congress. It will uphold the party leadership, the running of the country by the people, and law-based governance, and earnestly fulfill its duty invested by the Constitution and other laws. It will be a democratic, united, down-to-earth, and inspiring session. Of the 2,980 deputies for the 13th MPC, 2,976 have registered with the session. We have everything ready. A preparatory meeting this morning adopted the agenda of the session and elected a 190-member presidium and Mr. Wang Chen as the Secretary General of the session. The session will open on the morning of March the 5th and run for 15.5 days to close on the morning of March the 20th. It will last slightly longer than the first session of the 12th MPC, largely due to the agenda of this session. There will be 10 items on the agenda. Deputies will, under items 1 to 3, deliberate on the report on the work of the government and review the report on planning and report on budget. Under items 4 and 5, deliberate on the draft amendments to the Constitution and the draft supervision law. Under items 6 to 8, deliberate on the work report of the MPC Standing Committee, the work report of the Supreme People's Court, and the work report of the Supreme People's Procuratorate. On item 9, deliberate on the plan of the State Council institutional reform. On item 10, elect and decide on the appointment of state institution officials. There will be 8 plenary meetings. At the opening ceremony scheduled for the morning of the 5th, Premier Li Keqiang will deliver the report on the work of the government. Deputies will review the report on planning and report on budget. And the MPC Standing Committee will give an explanation of the draft amendments to the Constitution. At the second plenary on the afternoon of the 9th, deputies will hear and deliberate on the work report of the Supreme People's Court and the work report of the Supreme People's Procuratorate. At the third plenary on the afternoon of the 11th, deputies will vote on the draft amendments to the Constitution and hear and deliberate on the work report of the MPC Standing Committee. At the fourth plenary on the morning of the 13th, deputies will hear the MPC Standing Committee's explanation of the draft supervision law and the State Council's explanation of its institutional reform plan. At the 5th, 6th, and 7th plenary meetings on the mornings of the 17th, 18th, and 19th, deputies will elect and decide on the appointment of state institution officials. Each of the 3 plenary meetings will be followed by a ceremony where the elected officials will take oath and pledge allegiance to the Constitution. Such a ceremony, held for the first time at an NPC session, will help highlight the sanctity, authority, and spirit of the Constitution. At the 8th plenary, on the morning of the 20th, deputies will vote on the draft resolutions on the work reports and draft supervision law. The President of the People's Republic of China and the Chairman of the 13th NPC Standing Committee will address the meeting. The session will rigorously follow the CPC Central Committee's 8-point decision on improving party and government conduct and its implementation regulations. It will fully implement General Secretary Xi Jinping's instructions concerning the conduct of meetings and strictly apply the related measures newly developed by the session's secretariat. The plenary meetings will be open to accredited Chinese and foreign journalists. But at the plenaries to elect and decide on the appointment of state institution officials, journalists will be requested to leave when the deputies write on the ballots. This is a common practice followed out of respect for the deputies' voting rights. There will be 14 press conferences during the session. Leading officials of the NPC special committees and working bodies of the Standing Committee will be invited to answer questions on the NPC's work on legislation and supervision. Ministers of the State Council departments will be invited to answer questions about China's social and economic development that are of interest to the general public. On the 6th and 7th, press conferences will be given respectively by the chairman of the NDRC and Minister of Finance. On the morning of the 8th, Minister of Foreign Affairs will take questions on China's foreign policy and external relations. On the afternoon of the 11th, immediately after the vote on the draft amendments to the Constitution, a press conference on that specific topic will be held at the press conference hall of the Great Hall of the People, given by the head of the Bill Office of the Secretariat. After the session closes on the morning of the 20th, the new Premier of the State Council will meet Chinese and international media at the Golden Hall on the 3rd floor of the Great Hall of the People. The new Vice Premiers will also be present. Like in previous NPC sessions, media stakeouts will be arranged for ministers of State Council departments present at this year's session. At the Ministers' Corridor at the Northern Hall of the Great Hall of the People, they will answer questions about the government work report and related policies and respond to public concerns. At this year's session, there will be media stakeouts for deputies, the first of its kind at an NPC session. We will invite deputies to give group interviews at the Central Hall of the Great Hall of the People. For detailed information on these interviews and other reporting opportunities, please follow the web page and WeChat account of the Press Center of the session. The Press Center will provide Chinese and foreign journalists with the government work report and other documents before the related plenaries, including several foreign language versions. The agenda and program of the session have been released by the press center. We will do our best to support you in covering this year's session. I wish you every success. Thank you.